Okay, we're starting with print general color. And there's just one.
Yeah, actually there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But the 7?
Yeah.
I have 1 PGC and I have 3.
Yeah, I know that's what I was saying. That was what was in the actual submitted images, but of the prints, the physical prints that I got to judge, there were 7 total in color general.
Okay, I only have 1, but I can fake it pretty good. So
Okay, well, the scores that I sent you include scores for everything.
well, okay, so
So
wheat harvest would be the first then.
that's not what I want to do. Let's see. No, that's not what I want to do. Let's go back here. There we go. That's what I want to do. Wheat harvest. Okay, scored this one 4, 4, and 4. I think everything here is a notch above average. One of the things that really appeals to me is this area of blurred grain, really bringing a sense of motion. Most everything is plenty sharp to see the details, but there's a little blurring going on in here, and then this very significant blurring where you can see the speed of the falling grain. Adds just to me a lot of interest. I think everything on this picture is just a bit above average.
Okay. Wheat harvest by Don Burnell, 12 points. So the next one should be Puget Sound.
Well, I've got Puget Sound's in Prince General Monochrome.
Yeah. So give
Okay.
me the total. Give me the
Okay, well, the
title.
next one on my list is Nightfall. Which and I don't know who made these. So if the maker knows, once I'm done, if the maker knows it's their picture, speak up so we can record that. Nightfall, I scored 4, 5, and 4. I think the impact is really good here with the, of course, it's bright colors that'll do it, but this wonderful wave action. And on technique, there's some kind of painting process applied to this that I find deeply satisfying. It's just fun to look at. This is certainly an image that could be hung on a wall and left there for a long time.
Okay, Nightfall, and I don't know who did that.
That's mine, Elaine.
Elaine?
Yes.
By Elaine Giordoni.
Thanks.
13 points.
Okay, so the next one I have is Final Resting Place. I scored this 3, 4, and 3. The composition's good. The subject matter brings the impact up a notch. Has great impact. Technically, some things that bother me here are this graying of the edge darkening. Just kind of like there's just a gray overlay to darken the edge a little bit. And then there's something very strange going on the edge here. It's like the plants are disconnected from the earth, just sort of floating on the side over here. And just some odd artifacts, as if something had been done to add more width to the picture, and it's showing up. So again, I don't know who made this.
So what scores did you give it?
3, 4, and 3.
That's mine, Dorothy's.
Okay. It's good.
Okay, and the next one is the one that I
Oh,
failed.
wait a minute, sorry. 6. So final resting place by Dorothy, 10 points. All right, next one. Thank you, David.
Okay, the next one I can't show you because it's the one I failed to make a photograph of. I just photographed these with my phone.
David, is it glass floats on boat? Because I can bring that up on my screen.
That's what it is, yes. Glass
Yeah,
floats and boat.
Yeah, if that's okay, I can bring it up.
So what's the title?
Glass floats in boat.
And David, you'll have to stop screen sharing for me to be able to share. We'll have to swap.
Okay, I'll stop share for a moment.
Oh, cool. Oh, crap.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, I scored this one 4, 4, and 4. I think everything about this still life is above average. It's striking in color. I think the composition is really very good. It's just a very pleasing image. Technically, it's very, very good. So above average on every count.
Okay. Glass Floats in Boat by Tamara McGee, 12 points.
Okay, now I'll go back to.
So is that it for
Yeah, that.
color?
No, we have 3 more. Okay, so the next one is called Piston. And this one I scored 4, 4, and 4. Again, I think everything here is above average. Probably the only thing that I find I mean, the photographer is obviously not averse to painting on this because it has been very extensively painted. I would have painted this white corner out. It is very distracting. And probably would have painted this little thing in the corner out. As long as you were painting on it, just remove the distractions near the edges. But anyway, again, this abstract in many ways, but still really nicely done.
Okay. Piston by, anyone's going to claim it? No? Unknown, 12 points.
I'll take
Okay.
a guess.
What?
I'm gonna take a guess. I think it's Terry's, but I don't know.
Okay.
All right, the next one is Sailing the Palouse. And this one, I scored 4, 5, and 5. Compositionally, I would have just, even if you had to create a little more sky, I would have given a little room right above the top. It creates for me an awful lot of tension having the top of the sail right on the edge of the picture. I'd have given it a little breathing room. But the impact is very high and the print is simply gorgeous to look at. My camera phone picture of it really doesn't do it justice.
David, would you repeat those scores, please?
4, 5, and 5.
Thank you. Right, so Sailing the Palouse, who's going to claim it? By unknown?
It's mine, John.
John.
Yeah. You know, and those, I sent the digitals in early, so I don't know why they're not there.
Well, the problem is that Dennis didn't send me the full list. So that's what's happening here. Oh, darn it. So Sailing the Palouse by John Lepper, 14 points.
Okay, we have one more in color general. It is called Up, Up, and Away. And this one I scored 5, 5, and 5. The print is gorgeous. It's just delightful to look at. Down to little detail, the expression on the face is very pleasing and you're drawn right to it. But the other thing that's going on with this image, it's a wonderful double exposure. There's a second, we have the main balloon, and then there's a secondary image blended with it, but not in such a way that it interferes with any of the basket or the face. But it just creates an extra layer. You don't really notice it right away. It's not the first thing you see, but as you look at it for a while, you realize that it's created this multi-layered effect that I find deeply satisfying.
Okay, up and away, 15 points.
I'll
Who
claim
wants-
that one too.
All right, John.
Way to go, John.
Thanks.
Okay. Any others in that category, David?
No, that's it.
Okay, so I have 3 in general monochrome.
Okay.
How many do you have?
I have 6. I have 6 in general monochrome.
Okay. All right.
And now I have to remember which ones general monochrome would be. This one.
So we've got Puget Sound, Pulleys, and Retired.
Okay, so Puget Sound.
Well,
um,
that shouldn't have been submitted. That shouldn't have been submitted. I'd like to erase it for a different evening.
Okay,
Okay,
just cross it out
Cross it
and
out.
just leave it. Yeah, and which is good. That'll explain why I didn't find an actual print to judge. I only had the digital file for this.
Yeah, my mistake.
So we will just move on to the next one, which I have as pulleys.
yes.
Okay, I scored pulleys 4, 4, and 4. I think everything about this is above average. Technically, the one thing I notice is there's kind of a gray overlay on some of the needles along the edge. I think the photographer is just basically trying to pull our attention away from that. It's not bad, but it's noticeable. There's kind of, and again, I see kind of a general graying going on over the highlights here in this corner. And that's tricky. It's hard to, if you've got highlights that are pushed almost to white and then you try to bring them down, they end up tending to just look flat gray. So a common effect.
Okay, Pulleys by Don Burnell, 12 points.
Okay, the next one on my list is Retired,
Yes.
which I scored 3, 4, and 3. I think everything is very good here. There's a rather extreme amount of overall grayness added to this, to the grasses here in the foreground. It's a different look than moving the curves down. It's like pulling the highlight value down from white, and it just creates kind of an odd gray overlay. But everything else about this, so it's a print that has really good total dynamic range, has good shadow detail, virtually anywhere that it's important. So very nice print.
Okay, Retired by Don Burnell, 10 points. All right. So
Okay,
if there are any other PGMs, you're gonna have to give me the title.
okay, the next one I'm going to do is called Yesterday's Relic. This one I scored 4, 4, and 5. I think the composition's above average, the impact is above average, and the technique is stellar. Beautiful sepia type tone to the image. Just a gorgeous print. again, this one I had to copy with my phone, so don't judge. Wait till you get a chance to go look at the actual print to judge the print quality. For example, I picked up a little glare up here in the corner, which you won't see when you look at the actual print. And I think I lost a little shadow detail that the print provides. Anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful print.
Okay, yesterday's relic, 13 points, and that was by,
Tamara McGee.
thank you.
Okay, now I have Vagrant Art, which I scored 4, 4, and 4. I think everything here for me is above average. I like you have the stacked stones, and then you have that shape kind of repeated in these mullen in the background. Now I'm sure they didn't, the photographer didn't plant the mullen back there to get that effect, but it's certainly taking advantage of a nice repetition of shape by including those in the composition. And kind of another interesting aspect of this is where someone has painted over some tagging in the background, which is another sort of vagrant art that's been covered up for us. Anyway, very interesting picture, very nice print.
Vagrant Art, 12 points by, no? Okay,
By John McLaughlin.
thank you.
Okay, and the last one in general monochrome is called Gateway. And I scored this 5, 5, and 5. The only thing that I would have done differently is completely straighten these sides. But I'm not going to take a point away for the failure to do that, because to my mind, it would distract almost no one and doesn't really even distract me that much, even though it's my inclination to do that sort of thing. But, and again, this cell phone copy of this picture is a pale representation of experiencing the print in person.
Okay. Gateway, 15 points by,
John Lepper.
Good job, John.
Thanks.
Okay, I have subject color coming up next. Does that work for you?
yes, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many do you have?
I have 8. I only see 8 on my list here. Nope, I have 9. What am I missing? Oh, I can't count. Well, I have
It's
9.
okay. All right,
We're good. All right.
all right, so by,
Down on the Bayou is the one I have first. I lost your voice for a moment there, but I think that's what you said.
yes,
Okay. All right. I scored this 4 for composition, 5 for impact, and 4 for technique. The only observation I would make, the subject is, I believe, rivers or streams.
yes,
And there may be one or two that I'll say this about, but it would seem to me this image has a river or stream or swamp or something in it, some water anyway. But I don't think that that is actually the subject of this picture. I think it's there, but the subject is the building, as far as I'm concerned. That's where all the emphasis is. In fact, the water is largely de-emphasized. So I wouldn't throw it out just because of that, but to me, it's not strong as being a subject picture. Anyway, it's a delightful print. I think the color balance is maybe a little off, but it's very satisfying to look at. So I don't think that's any big problem. I'm not any stickler all the time for exact reproduction of color if the colors that are used produce a good effect, and in my opinion, they do here.
All right. Down on the Bayou by Tamara McGee, 13 points. Next one is Hood River Bridge.
Okay, I scored this one 5, 5, and 4. I'm thinking you have to buy a drone to get this shot, or hire an airplane, or be able to float like the old man in Up. But anyway, gorgeous composition. I think everything, the wonderful diagonals here, and of course, leading right back up into this mountain. The only thing, I took a point off technically because there's some really significant noise up here in the sky that after all of this wonderfulness, that noise I find kind of distracting. One of the things I have done several times when I had issues with the tonalities in a sky is use Photoshop's select sky function and then replace the existing sky with a gradient of the colors. All you have to do is take a eyedropper sample of the darkest part and an eyedropper sample of the light part, and then make a gradient of those two colors. So take the eyedropper and click in the dark, say for the background by holding the option key, and then click without the option key for the foreground to get your foreground color. And then on a separate layer, just draw a gradient through, and you can just keep redrawing it until it matches the way you want it to. Then add a little noise to it. Usually 2 or 3 noise level addition will match it to the general noise in the photograph. If you don't add some noise, it can look really weird. So, and if I have real problems with a smooth sky like that, I'll just replace it with colors from my photograph, but as a gradient fill. So that's just a suggestion. Anyway, gorgeous, gorgeous picture.
Hood River Bridge by Tim McGee, 14 points. Next one,
I have Multnomah Falls next.
Multnomah Falls, correct.
Okay, scored this 4, 5, and 4. It's again, I think you probably you can't get this by standing there on the ground. You got to get up in the air somehow. So this is really a unique view of Multnomah. And excellent composition, very high impact. Technically, I think it maybe, for me, lacks a little richness in the colors. Could have been upper midtones maybe brought down a little bit to make it a bit richer. I feel like it's a little bit washed out in some of the highlights, but it's an excellent photograph.
All right, Multnomah Falls by Tim McGee, 13 points. Next one is Palouse River.
Okay, I scored this one 4, 4, and 4. I think it's a very good, above average composition. Has very good impact, and technically it's quite good. I do see things I see are some, it's like this cloud was burned in, and in the process, some of the sky around it darkened some relative to what I would expect it to be. Same thing going on here. So that's a bit of an issue for me, but there's looks like someone has maybe drawn the clarity slider to the left and reduced the clarity a little bit, created a kind of a glow effect, which is very satisfying for this image. I think that works well. Really adds to the bright spring-like day feel of this.
Palouse River by Donna Larson, 12 points. Next is Peaceful Waters.
Okay, this I scored 4, 3, and 4. It's a very good composition. I think the arrangement of the elements here works very well. Impact wise, that's a judgment call, and since I was the one that was trying to evaluate how I was impressed by it, it didn't bowl me over. It's good, but so that's why it gets a good score and not a better than average. And technically, it's above average. I think it's done very well. It has good photographic quality, and everything about it is just fine.
All right. Peaceful Waters by Dorothy Detler, 11 points. Resting.
Resting, I scored 4, 4, and 5. Good composition, above average impact, and I think technically it's really been handled very well. I'm sure you had to do something to bring out this kind of drama in the clouds for that exposure, but there's really almost nothing that gives it away. I mean, there are no edging effects going on where the sky meets the land. It just has been done, in my opinion, very, very well. And I assume this digital file came from what made the print, but and my recollection is the print was even more impressive than what I'm seeing on screen here. So I think this was a good thing that we allowed me to actually judge the prints and not just digital representations of them.
Cool.
Even if that was the source of the print.
Resting by David Powers, 13 points. Spring Runoff.
Okay, this I scored 4, 4, and 5. I think everything here is excellent. If I were making a compositional change, I probably would have tried to avoid having this little piece of water here right at the corner. A very minor point. It's not anything like highly distracting. I think it's gorgeous, gorgeous photograph.
Spring Runoff by Donna Larson, 13 points. Swimming.
Okay, scored this 4, 5, and 4. I think the impact here is very high. Somebody's experiencing water, that's a fact. Great action here. And I think this has been done very, very well.
Swimming by David Powers, 13 points. Last one in this category, Waterlog.
Okay, this I scored 3, 3, and 4. The composition, I think, is good. The impact is okay. And technically, I think it's handled very well in terms of being crisp. I think the color balance overall may be a little on the blue side, but not to the point of being any serious problem. Just an observation there.
Okay, Waterlog by Kim Barbie, 10 points. All right, so now we're going into subject monochrome, and I have 4. How many do you have, David?
Hey,
have any?
we have a match. Does that mean we win a jackpot?
I hope so. Okay, so you have 4 and I have 4. Perfect. Columbia River Vista House.
Okay, this one I scored 4, 4, and 3. I think it's a great composition. This is just a really nice repetition in the land with the building. great composition. I think it has very high impact. Technically, it looks to be a heavily upsampled image. If you get very close to it, it is quite mushy. It just has all the earmarks of something that's been upsampled from a rather small file. Still, it's a very good image.
Columbia River Vista House by Tamara McGee, 11 points. Hangman Creek.
Yeah, Hangman Creek IR for infrared.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if someone has a camera converted for infrared or whatever, but absolutely gorgeous. I scored this 4, 5, and 5. The composition is above average and everything else is stellar.
Okay. Hangman Creek, John Lepper, 14 points. Purgatory.
Okay, this I scored 4, 4, and 3. I think composition is really very good. Impact is high. Nice drama in this technically. And maybe this is me just overvaluing certain little things, but there's a really heavy white line right on the edge of the land where it meets the sky. Like it's either been heavily over sharpened or sky was pasted in and didn't fit quite right or something. There's something going on there that's just really obvious, even at quite a distance from the print. One of my approaches, if I get that kind of a white line due to processing I've done, is I'll add an empty blank layer right above my image because I don't want to paint directly on the image. But I'll set the blending mode for that layer to darken because what I've got is light tones that need to remove the white. If the layer is set to darken, I can take the clone stamp tool and take a sample from out here and then just paint right over that white line. And the white line will just disappear. And in fact, a lot of times I'll deliberately try to sample from an area that's just slightly lighter than the sky right next to the white line. But I don't have to worry. If it's set to darken, I can paint right over the land and it will have no effect on the land, but it'll just fill in that white line. And so you can actually take probably about 5 minutes to sit here and run over and clean up all of that white that's very distracting right on the edge of the land there. So that's the one thing I would do to that.
Purgatory by David Powers, 11 points. And our last photo, Storm Clouds Ahead.
Okay, this I scored 4, 4, and 4 because I think everything about this is above average. It's a beautiful print, it's a delightful composition, and it's really impressive.
All right, Storm Clouds Ahead by Elaine Giordoni, 12 points. Yay, everybody. Nice job tonight.
So would anyone like to say anything about their prints that they submitted? Or does anybody have any questions about any of this prints that were submitted? Like, where is it from? How'd you do that?
I'd like to know where the Purgatory one is from. That's really dramatic landscape.
That's on the Snake River. Hell's Canyon.
I just wondered if that was Hell's Canyon.
The Purgatory for Hell's Canyon, obviously.
Hey, a question for Don Burnell. Where'd you get that grain picture from? The grain chute?
Yeah.
Mr. Burnell?
He might have disappeared. Oh, there he is.
No, he's up there. Hey, Don.
Got his speaker off.
Don, unmute yourself.
Hey, Dorothy,
Don, we're asking you a
everybody?
question, Don. Don.
He's,
Can the moderator
Don?
unmute everybody?
Don, unmute yourself. Don,
bottom left corner, there should be a microphone looking thing, mute.
All right, can you hear me
No.
now?
Yeah.
That picture was taken at Billy Creek Bridge in Rockville, Indiana. They have a covered bridge festival every fall. That was taken in the 80s.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, one time I think Tim Lesser explained to us how to take away that little white line around the edge of something that David was just describing. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think Tim wrote that up, the procedure, and I'd really like to get a copy of it if he did. Whoop, he's muted too.
Tim,
There we go. Yeah, I can do that. I just use the stamp tool and set the
Right.
blend mode to darken.
Yeah, I don't think I did it on the separate layer. I don't know what I did wrong, but I tried it and it didn't work.
Well, the nice thing of using the separate layers that you can go back and erase something if you overdo it or
That's what's
miss your
cool about
mark somehow.
layers.
Right, exactly. I always try to lock the main layer and just not do anything to it.
I actually like to leave the white line there if it's backlit, because it kind of adds to the backlit sense of it. I like John McLaughlin's picture. Where was yours, John?
Well, the fun part of that picture for me was it was about a month ago on a Saturday. I was complaining to myself because I wasn't out of town taking a picture of something. And then I said to myself, that's ridiculous. It has to be something around here. And I went down to that industrial complex by sharpshooting, you know,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and oh my gosh, there was that pile of rocks. And I thought I had a really, the sun wasn't good on Saturday, so I went back on Sunday and took the shot. But it was just a kind of a jabbing myself that got to keep worrying about going out of town and look what's going on around town.
Huh,
well done, John.
I would never have thought that was where it was, so.
Yeah.
Anybody's interested, I'll take just a second and show you just a little bit of how I do that removal.
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to bring my Photoshop up. Can everybody see my Photoshop there?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to add a blank layer. I'm going to set the blending mode to darken. I'm not changing my clone stamp tool to darken. I'm setting the blending mode for the layer to darken. And then I'll take the clone stamp tool and come out here, and I can get a fairly good sized brush and get a sample. And then just, but with a very soft edge, take a very soft edge brush and just paint over the edge here.
Oh, wow.
And if I see it starting to darken, I can undo it. But see, because I'm painting lighter pixels over the background here, I'm not affecting any of the pixels in the land. Another thing you can do is reduce the opacity a little bit. And doing it on a separate layer, you can erase your mistakes.
Well, that'd be way quicker than how happened.
Okay.
So anyway, that's all I do. I just clean it up a little bit, and you can see I can see this white line going on here and over here where I've see how that hides that.
He knows Photoshop so well, but he
It's
knows
pretty
so
simple,
much that
not
we
too
just-
complicated.
He used to- Everybody look each other. we didn't-
David?
Yes.
I noticed you set the darken on the layer. You ever just use darken on the blend mode on the?
You certainly can, but since I'm doing it on a separate layer, it's not necessary. And that way I don't end up changing the blend mode for the tool and then trying to use the tool later, wondering why in the heck it's not working.
I've had that experience, yes.
Yeah. So this is just a way of avoiding having to change the tool's blend mode setting. so that I don't forget and don't put it back. It'd be great if I always remember to put it back, but I don't. And so by setting the blend mode for the layer, then I can use, if I'm having trouble with the clone stamp tool, maybe I'll use the paintbrush tool and just sample a paint color and then paint a little bit with that. And it doesn't matter, again, the layer is set to darken, so that's all that's going to happen with that layer.
I typically try to resample, as you move along the edge, resample frequently from what's
Yeah.
next to it.
You have to.
You get tonal differences in
Absolutely.
your source.
Hey, a question for David Powers, did you replace the sky in that purgatory photo, or was that the original sky?
No, that's the original sky. The only thing I did was darken everything down to make it purgatory.
I would be interested in the person who took the picture of the Hood Bridge, Hood River Bridge. Was that a drone?
Yeah, this is Tim again. Tim's dad, and I wanted to say she gets credit for any good scores I get because she's definitely my mentor on this stuff. She's teaching me a lot. But yeah, I do all drone photography. That one, I've actually got a better drone now. That's part of what messed that sky up. But yeah, that was just, we were coming back along the Washington side of the river one time, and I just happened to see the mountain poking out up there, and I thought, man, what a great shot that would be. So it was pretty windy. It was a little sketchy taking the drone up in that much wind, but I pulled it off. I got a lot of good pictures of the bridge. That's the one that I liked for to submit. So same with that Multnomah Falls picture was a drone as well, and that one's really tricky because it's a state park and you can't fly drones in Washington state parks. So it's I'm sorry. I think it's a national park because Oregon does let you fly them in state parks. But anyway, there was a rule that you can't fly drones, but you just can't take off or land in the park. You can fly to it as long as you don't fly over the top of any people. So I had to kind of get up in the air, sneak down the railroad tracks where there weren't any people because there's a lot of people there. And then I kind of got around to one side, made sure I'm still not over people, snuck out just enough. I had one tree still kind of a little bit in the way, but I really appreciate that David made the observation that, yeah, you can't get that shot from the ground. And that was my whole objective there. Since I'm already talking, I just want to say thanks a lot, David, for critiquing these and for your advice. I make note of all that stuff and really appreciate your knowledge on this. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome.
We're going to look forward to more of your photographs, Tim.
All right. I love doing
Whitaker still using his drone?
I haven't as much in this last 6 or so months, but Tim just inspired me to break it out again.
Well, yeah.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Yep. What drone do you have?
Tim doesn't know
That's
this.
the Mavic, the old Mavic.
Steve flew his drone around in the church where we meet and showed us what he was doing on the television.
Cool. Hey, just a quick question for John Lepper. That paraglider shot, how did you get that?
Which one? Oh, I was just on Steptoe one day and it just happened to be, the paragliders there.
Oh, that's a great shot. I love that.
Oh, thanks.
So Dorothy, where was your car, the last resting place?
Oh, it was down in Hood River area.
Really pretty.
Did you add flowers, or were there actually flowers all the way up it?
Oh, no, it was sitting right in the middle of a bunch of flowers, just resting.
Yeah, nice picture.
Dorothy, isn't that the one that Dalles Mountain State Park? Clubby Hill State Park?
No, it wasn't in a state park.
That's not on the Washington side?
Well, now you're right. I guess it's been a couple years. I've forgotten.
Yeah, you take that gravel road off of the highway and go up about 3 miles to the old ranch building.
You're right. That's where it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that is. They get great wildflower blooms there in
in the spring and April and early May.
Hey, John Lepper.
Yes.
On the hang glider picture, was there more sky that you cropped off, or?
I don't think there was, but I was really concerned about that. And then when I matted it, I had to cover just a teeny bit of it. So your suggestion about making more sky was a good one. I just never think about doing that.
Yeah, the technique I use is to just put the background layer on, make it a layer rather than the background. And then increase the canvas size. So when you go into the image canvas size, select the bottom of the proxy and then add whatever space you want, which will just create an empty space above the sky. Then I choose select, load selection, and click inverse, and that will select that blank area. I expand the selection by a pixel and then go edit, fill, content aware. Boom, more sky.
Yeah. I've done it a long time ago, but I just never, I didn't think about it, but it was a good idea because I was concerned you would notice that.
Well, it just,
yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to create tension, it's a way to create tension. But if you're not trying to do that, if you're trying to keep the viewer engaged in the picture,
right,
and not draw them to the edge, a little breathing room can go a long way.
We ought to hear Kathy Hostetter at least say something. She's just been sitting over there by her fern.
Hi, Kathy.
But she probably doesn't know how to unmute her microphone. You'll have to call Dawn.
Kathy, we can't hear you.
Kathy, press your space bar.
Oh, there you go.
Hold down your space bar. And hold it down.
It looks like she's on a tablet.
Oh,
Or phone.
Oh.
I don't know how to tell you.
Thanks, everybody. We're taking off.
All right.
You guys.
Bye.
All right. Thanks again, David.
Where are you two?
Both Davids, David Sams and David Powers.
Okay, well.
Don't forget, you can see the prints down at the Browns Edition office. We're usually there by 10 o'clock or so in the morning, and then we'll probably stay until 5 or 6. But if you need to come later, we can just let us know and we'll hang around a little longer.
And individuals don't need to come here and pick up the prints. There will be one person come pick all the prints up, so.
Yep, John McLaughlin volunteered to do that.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, David. What time do you open?
We open at 8 o'clock. I never get here before 8:10, but that's just because I'm always late. But usually Mark's here by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll be over about 10 o'clock, something like that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well,
All right,
Thank you, David.
nice
Don't
work
forget the
tonight.
field
everyone.
trip. See you all maybe this
8:30,
weekend.
right, John?
okay. See you again soon. I hope. Take care.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.